A December weekend in Hamtramck, the Polish village cafe where there's a Wigilia celebration about to begin.
Okay, we'll figure it out.
Alina Klint hosts the gathering.
Wigilia, the word comes from the Latin, which means to watch. So it's waiting for, watching out, waiting for Christ to be born, which we celebrate, of course, on Christmas Day.
Klint came from Poland 30 years ago. Now she teaches Polish history and culture at Wayne State University.
It is the most traditional, the most celebrated of all Polish holidays.
So anywhere, and I think this will be...
While Christmas Day is big in Polish homes, Wigilia is bigger, held on Christmas Eve.
Wigilia is one of the most important Polish traditions that we have, and so I found it very important to be here today to support Wayne State and to promote and keep these traditions alive.
Jillian Demeter studies Polish at Wayne State.
I thought it would be fun, so I invited my family as well.
This is my sister. I'm second generation Polish. I grew up knowing bits and pieces, but studying the language and getting a degree in that language has given me so much more, and I've been able to now reconnect with my cousins who live in Poland, my family of Polish roots, so it's exciting to be able to be a part of that.
On Christmas Eve, we want to be with our families and friends, and we also want to be in our best behavior to assure that the next year will bring us health and prosperity.
In Poland, the run-up to Wigilia means fasting, but not too much.
They try to eat very lightly, a little bit throughout the day, maybe 2 little meals, and then they would sit down to this very sumptuous, however meatless dinner. And this meatlessness of this dinner is because it's still fast before Christmas. It's not Christmas yet.
Some might think of Hamtramck as far as local Polish history goes. Many Poles came to work at the Chrysler assembly plant, the massive Dodge main complex that closed in 1980. But the Polish story in Detroit starts even before that.
Since Polish women at the beginning of the 20th century, a lot of them worked in cigar industry, and not many people know that before Detroit had that automotive industry, which is Detroit so famous of, cigar industry, which Detroit was famous of.
Poles came not just to Hamtramck and the east side, they established parishes on the west side along Michigan Avenue. Lori Gomulka-Palazzolo documents the Polish-American experience there.
With me, my interest really peaked when my dad passed away. My dad was a Polish-American musician. He was quite famous in the Detroit area. His name was Ted Gomulka. He was a trumpeter.
Polish-American jazz musicians created polka music, popular in Detroit. Ted Gomulka appeared regularly on radio and television. He was a Decca Records recording star.
He had his own polka band for many, many years. And when he passed away in 1998, he had this sort of sense, this feeling that nobody was going to care, nobody was going to remember anything that he had accomplished in his life.
Preserving history can be a challenge. In the century past, Polish immigrants weren't treated so well, in part because many did not speak English.
They were also Catholics. That was the time when Catholics were not really looked at very favorably.
Many also despised and ridiculed Polish Catholics, fearing their allegiance was to the Pope and not their new country.
We really didn't celebrate Wigilia when I was growing up. When I was very little, we lived in the attic of my grandfather's house, not far from here. I grew up in a Polish-speaking household, and I'm now fairly fluent in Polish, but I was forbidden to speak Polish because my father's family back in the 50s didn't want anyone to know that we were Polish.
Back in the kitchen, Marta Baroka and Zalcha Kuras coordinate the delivery of the delicacies.
We don't microwave anything. We don't even have a microwave. No, it just gotta be freshly baked or fried. Traditional Wigilia is 12 dishes. 12 is the limit. You can't have anymore. You're not able to eat anymore.
First, there's opłatki. That's plural for opłatek, a thin rectangular wafer.
My most favorite tradition is the opłatek, where you share the Christmas wafer before the meal, and you go around the room with a wafer, you break off a piece of theirs, they break a piece of yours, and you reconcile any differences you may have had throughout that year and wish peace and happiness and all the prosperity for the new year to come, so everyone starts on a fresh slate.
Polish club.
While the traditional Wigilia meal doesn't have meat, fish is included, starting with slezia, pickled herring in a cream sauce.
This śledzie reminds us also of the fact that it is still fast. It's not Christmas yet.
Another Wigilia requirement, soup. Here it's borscht, made from beets. Then there's pierogi, sweet and savory filled dumplings.
We host our Wigilia at our house every year, and yes, we have gluten-free pierogi, and everybody loves them. Nobody knows the difference.
Here, the Bemis family tells their own Wigilia pierogi story. Alicia's son, Wayne State student Charles, he can't eat gluten.
We got to the point where when he was diagnosed at the age of 12, he said, "Oh my gosh, Mom, I'm never going to have pierogi again." He said, "Find a way to make them gluten-free."
Alicia did. Now the Bemises run a gluten-free pierogi factory in St. Clair Shores. Their pierogies are available in stores across southeastern Michigan.
This is our busiest time of the year.
Wigilia's main course includes potatoes, sauerkraut, and more fish. In Poland, it might be carp fillet, but here, cod is served.
For dessert, we'll have for sure poppy seed roll, because poppy seed is one of these magical components in Wigilia, which goes way back to assure prosperity. Next year, you need to eat some poppy seeds at Wigilia.
This Wigilia event has been going on for decades, and now Wayne State alum Jessica Wendt sees more interest in the old traditions thanks to new technology.
We have social media. So social media helps to really kind of promote and educate friends, spark interest and questions, and then people really kind of are reaching back to the roots of where they came from.
Watch One Detroit, Thursday at 7:30 p.m.
You can find more at onedetroitpbs.org or subscribe to our social media channels and sign up for our One Detroit newsletter.